So we're holding in Zevachim Daf Zayin. We're starting the few dots and Mudalef, a few lines down in Mudalef. The Gemara says Itmar. Itmar. What is the word talking about? Toida sheshachta l'shem toidas chaveru. Someone who shechta toida for the toida of his friend. Now, what does it mean? So here the Rishay pointed out right away. We're not talking about shechting for the wrong owner, which is the case of shaloi l'shem bailov. Why? In what way it's not the same? So one easy way you can move. You can move these things on the table. Yeah. So the one nekuda is the easy way to understand it is what Toisa says. We learned it before a little bit. Shaloi l'shem bailov is only when you do zrika. I'm shechting my carbon, but I'm throwing the blood for shmer. It doesn't work. Here, it's a little different. Here, we already, from the beginning, I'm doing a shechita of a carbon, not for me, for somebody else. Hi, that's somebody else. I mean, why somebody else? Rashi says he also has to bring a toida. So I'm doing the toida for somebody else for the beginning of the process. It's not shalosh shebayla. I'm taking my carbon. I'm saying I'm going to do the zrika. I'm going to do it like partially for my friend. This I'm just redesignating the carbon to my friend. So it's a little confusing because it's very similar to shalosh shebayla. Shalosh shebayla is I have a carbon that belongs to me and I'm doing it for somebody else. Here I'm also doing like taking a carbon that belongs to me and doing it for somebody else. But here I'm completely redesignating the carbon to do it for somebody else. So what's the din over there? Well, the Amar Ksheira. It's kosher. Rav Chizda Amar Psula. Rav Amar Ksheira Toida L'Shem Toida Nishchita. People say, you know what's Ksheira? Because it was done for L'Shem Toida. Toida was done for Toida. So as because the Toida is still a Toida, I changed the designation of the carbon, it's still okay. Rav Chizda Amar Psula L'Shum Shlami Lidei Nishchita Beina. I need it to be for you. I need it to be done for the own person. If I'm redesignating a carbon to somebody else, it's similar to Shina Kodesh. So even though it's the same carbon, I need to bring a toida, he needs to bring a toida, same carbon. And we're doing the whole process from the beginning. It's not like we're taking one and doing it for somebody else. But still, the carbon that belongs to Reuven is not the carbon that belongs to Shimon. So it's a change. That's the machlekes. Says Rabbi, how do I know it's kosher? How do I know if I redesignate a carbon and take a carbon that belongs to and do it for Shimon? It's the same name of carbon. It's not considered to be a Shimon. Titani, it says in the Brayso, Bisar, Zevach, Toidas, Shlomov, V'yomakrivo Yedzivcha. That's the pasuk we mentioned before. It says the Zevach, Toidas Shlomov, the Toida of the Shlomov. Abachadin Omar Mishua Belazar. So Abachadin is sitting Rav Lazar. It teaches you Toido Sheshachto L'Shem Shlomim Ksheira. If I take Toido and I think Shlomim, it's okay. Why? Because Toido is called Shlomim. Toida Shlomim. Like Rashi brought Leil. It's like saying Toiras Moshe. Toira Moshe, the Toido of the Shlomim. Shlomim Shirishchetu L'Shem Toido. And if I do the opposite, I take a carbon Shlomim and think of myself Toido, Psulim. Umay fresh benzel is what's the difference between the two? Toida Kuri Shlomim. Toida, the name of Toida is also Shlomim. It's one of the channels of Shlomim. The Shlomim Kuri Toida. So that's what we see. So you see that what? That's stage one. Toida you could do for the name of Shlomim. Shlomim you can't do with the name of Toida. Says the Gemara. So let's do a deal. Shlomim l'shem Toida psulo. You can't do Shlomim for Toida. Ha Toida l'shem Toida ksheiro. Mashra, you can do Toida for Toida. So it says Rabbi, I have here a raya, the one Toida, and I have in mind for someone else's Toida to be kosher. My love, the Chavrei. Meaning, even though it's the Toida of Reuven, I'm doing it for the Toida of Shimon, and it's good. Gavaldik. Says the Gemara, no, lav di day. What do you mean? Let's say a person has to bring two Toidas. He has to bring a Toida because he went through a trip with Eretz Yisrael on a boat. Let's make it easier because on a plane is a discussion. We say Agoyim, some people say Agoyim. Right. He went on a boat. The both you for sure have to say Agoyim Agrimil and Korban Toido or equivalent to each other. One of the main, a big sugi that teaches is this Gemara, because Rashi over here speaks about the Chayove Toido. When you're obligated to bring a Toido, discussion of Toido is obligation or not. Rashi learns it is. You have 4 that are obligated to be a Korban Toido. One of them is going through the sea, travels through the sea, he needs to bring a Toido. Now, he was in Beis HaSorim, he was captured by someone, he was a hostage, and he was released. So he has to bring 2 Toidos. He designated one Toido, and he said, this Toido will be for my being released from captivity. And Toido B will be for by sea the sea. But then he took Toido B, and he used it for Toido A, that's fine.
Right.
It's the same owner, they're both Toido, you're good. But it's for your friend, maybe not. Something more with the Chavrei Mai Psula. You want to tell you my friend is Pasul? So why you tell me Shloimim for Toido? Litni Toido l'shem Toido, v'kol shekin Shloimim l'shem Toido. So go back to the deal we said before. The Brisa tells you that if I did Shlomim in the mind of Toido, it doesn't work. Only Toido l'shem Shloimim. Why don't I say stronger? I should say that Toido l'shem Toido doesn't work. It's a bigger Chiddush. Even though they're both Toido, I can't do Toido for Toido. Of course I can't do Shloimim for Toido. The only exception is Toido for Shlamim. Says the Gemara, L'shem Toido the day eats. So I tell you why. I wanted you to have the deal. It says Toido for Shlamim, no good. Masha Toido for Toido is good if it's your Toido.
Right.
Why? Sagadai Techamim, the Toido Kriya Shlamim, Shlamim Nami Kriya Toido. Sorry, I said one thing wrong. The Shlamim l'shem Toido did tzricha, not Toido l'shem Toido. Korban Shlamim for Toido. You want to tell me it's wrong? I should be. What's the chiddush? It says that you know what I'm doing. I'm telling you that Shlamim l'shem Toido is possible. Why don't I say that Toido l'shem Toido is possible? So I'll tell you why. If I would tell you Toido l'shem Toido is possible, I would say okay. Toido needs to be exact. But if I do Toido for Shlamim, we know it's okay. So Shlamim for Toido should also be okay. Maybe it works both ways. So that's why I have to emphasize that Shlamim for Toido doesn't work. That's how you read it. Shlamim l'shem Toido de Yitzchak. I need Shlamim for Toido. Sadai Chamino, I think that Toido Kriya Shlamim, Shlamim Nami Kriya Toido, they're both called Toido and Shlamim, are interchangeable. And that's why I say Shlamim l'shem Toido. But you're right, if it would be Toido l'shem Toido, also be possible. There's no diuk over here. Diuk is always saying, why are you telling me this? Because I want to be dayak, something else. No, here I'm saying for their own purpose, their own chiddush. Now the Gemara is going to bring a few memers of Rava. Some of the memers of Rava over here, we already mentioned. You'll say, oh, we already heard it. Why do you tell me again? We're compiling together many memers of Rava that have to do when a person changes the purpose of the korban. And we saw, he took a chatos, and he did it for a chatos, his own. Meaning, a person has to bring 2 korban chatos. One korban chatos he has to bring because he ate fat, chelov. Another korban chatos he has to bring because he ate blood. He took 1 korban chatos for the other korban chatos of his own korban chatos, it's kosher. L'shem oil psula, if he did it for oil, it's plus my time. What's the reasoning? Shachat oiso lechatos umachmona l'gzeres kosu. You do it for chatos. Umachmona v'ari chatos l'shil chatos nishal. I did it for chatos. Hi, it's not exactly the same chatos. Torah just said to do for chatos. As long as I have some chatos in mind, it's fine. L'shem oil psula. Why? That's a diuk. It says shachat oiso lechatos, not for lechatos, not for something else. So if it's for chatos, it's okay. For oil, it's possible. Rava says chatos sheshachto mishi mechuyuv chatos psula mishi mechuyuv oilok shev. We saw this also before. If you take a chatos and you change the owner, it ruins it. It's called the Shilul Shem Bible. So I do a chatos of Reuben v'Shimon, it ruins it. But only if Shimon needs to bring a chatos. If Shimon needs to bring an oilo, then the chatos doesn't work. We explained it when we learned it together. That the only one that, the politician gets insulted from a politician. Right. Not from a layman. So the guy who chayav oil is not in the pasha b'chlal. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. But if you have Shimon who's chayav chatos and Reuben is chayav chatos, You take Reuven's chatos, do it for Shimon, that ruins the chatos. My time of a chipper olav veloyal chaveroi chaver du medidei b'mechuyev kapor kamoisei. It says a chipper olav veloyal chaver. It needs to be someone like him, someone on the same level like him. That's where you have the issue. The Omar Rava says the Gemara Marova. God, can you bother to get tissues in the back?
Sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Hey, apologize. Says the Gemara Marova. Chatos sheshachto mi she'ena mechuyev klum. So, there's a chatos for someone who is not chayav anything. Oh, so we're going to see now something very, very fascinating. We're going to right away address it. You have Reuven chayav chatos. Shimon is chayav chatos. Reuven did this chatos for Shimon. Possible. Reuven is chayav chatos. Shimon is not chayav chatos. He's chayav an oilo. Called one level down. He didn't do a chait, but he has the nether. He obligated himself an oil. Oil could be a case of a nether. He gave it off. He's not going to give an oil. Sorry, kosher. Why? He's not chayav chatos.
That's for a different owner.
What?
That's for a different owner.
Different owner. But if you did a different owner, it doesn't chayav the chatos. So he's not in the parsha. He's not in the. He's like he's not obligated to give it. Bring it anyway. So basically, it's considered to be like he didn't do anything. But now comes case number 3, which seems to be a nak at the case number 2. Reuven is chayav chatos. Shimon is not chayav anything. He's a happy, good man. He's going around the street. He's not chayav any korbanos. If Reuven did a korban for Shimon, he ruins the korban. How does that make any sense? If Shimon is chayav oilo, so then it doesn't ruin it.
It doesn't work.
It's not ruin it.
It doesn't ruin
It's kosher.
It works
If-
as his oil.
No, I always say the chatos of Reuven.
Right. So
Not his oil.
what does that mean? It's still good. What does that mean? It's not.
It's still good for a chatos of Reuven. Reuven's chatos. Right, Reuven brought a chatos. In his mindset, when he's doing the shechita, he's saying this is going to be for Shimon. So if Shimon's chayav chatos, you ruin the korban. Shimon's chayav oilo, didn't affect the korban. If Shimon not chayav nothing, he ruins the korban.
Because Shimon has no shaykhs.
So that's also when he has no chayav, and he's not chayav anything.
He has a shaykhs to the carbon. Here he has no shaykhs to anything.
So therefore, ruins it. Oh, so that's what the Gemara is about. Let's see what the Gemara says. This is the Gemara. So the Gemara.
It ruins Reuven's carbon?
Yes.
But if Shimon, if there's nothing happened, there's
That's what your question.
why should it ruin it?
If for oil it doesn't ruin it, why should for nothing it should ruin
For
it?
nothing, it shouldn't ruin. Nothing happened. It's still good. No
So let's
change.
see. Very good.
That's what he said.
Yeah, why should it be more? Chatas sheshachto mi she'ein mechuyev klum. It's not going to have anything. Sulu. Why? She'ein lecha odom b'Yisrael she'ein mechuyev asay. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a person not going to have anything. Why?
It's a pretty strong.
Because everybody in the world, he's missing an essay they didn't do perfectly. Some essay.
Either you chayav a carbon or not.
Oh, korban essay, there's no korbanos an essay. When a person doesn't do an essay, what does he have to do? We'll see in the Gemara in one moment. Tshuva.
When someone
Does it have to be a carbon?
doesn't do an assay, so it does tshuva.
That's tshuva. Does have to be a korban. What's a korban oil? A donation. You can donate an oil if you want to. Not obligated. So he's saying if a person doesn't have an oil, he has an essay. Now, that's the Gemara. Gemara's going to build it up. Gemara's going to explain it more. Let's see. And adding to this, Chatos mechaperes al chai v'asei mikal v'choyv. Chatos works in essay. Why? Al chayvei krisus mechaperes al chai v'asei l'koshken. If Chatos can rectify the krisus, worse slaving, so of course it takes away assay, which is an easier avera. So one second. The name rule, the bar minoi. You want to tell me it's in the same level? Now they're going to ask the question we asked. One second. You said that if he's chayav oilo, it doesn't ruin it. So you want to say when he's not chayav anything, just he has some assay on him because he didn't make lulav perfectly, so then it does ruin it. How does that make any sense? Something what Dav Zayin would be, I don't know because I'm using the Nekudus, so I don't know if it has the same source of Daf. Says the Gemara, it is. What's the next we have? So here comes the big. We saw this also in yesterday's Daf. There's a concept called mikivo, kivo loshon kavua, intrinsic. Mikufio means floating. which means like this. The main korban comes for whatever the korban is. If you bring a korban of chatos, so the korban comes to tei mechaper chatos. You bring a oila, the oil is mechaper and asay. If you're not bringing anything, so the asay joins the chatos, floating on top of it. So you it goes like this. If I'm doing a chatos for someone who's chayav an oila, it's not going to ruin it, because that person has his own oila. If you look at Rashi, look at the second Rashi. The Rashi can say it better than me. Hilkach. Why? Once he did oilo, all his essence belongs to the oilo. The two lo shaykh chatas gabei, chatas doesn't belong to him. But mishaleifish klum v'aviris also shebiyadoi, because he didn't do any afrosha. Shaykh chatas gabei. Tila mischayev chatas v'chaper asay b'kufyo. Kechal shmei chatas shesh chatal shveri usi. In other words, chatos rules only someone that belongs to chatos. Only someone that belongs to chatos. And here comes the chiddush. This chiddush is a little hard to understand. But it goes like this. If I'm chayav chatos, Reuben is chayav chatos. I put it to Shimon is chayav chatos. Shimon is chayav chatos, the chatos will work for him. But if Reuben is chayav chatos, Shimon is chayav anoilo, Shimon is not shach chatos. If Shimon is not chayav anything, he is shach chatos. Why? Because then he's going to be called a floating. The chatos will work for him as a floating kapara. Chatos works called for level 1, and level 3 can join it. But if I have level 2, I have an oilo, so then the assays join the level 2, not level that then it becomes intrinsic in level 2. Oilo, chatos is mechaper on lav intrinsically, because part of the korban. Oilo is mechaper assay intrinsically. If I don't have oilo, so then the assay becomes a floating, it's not intrinsic, it joins, it's like a derivative of the kaparo that goes to the chatos. So the word is like this: if the guy is chayav an oilo, say he belongs to oil, doesn't belong to the chatos. But if not, he is. I'm going to give you an example. It's not a great example, but just to put it in our mind. You have this guy who is some Zevachim, they're very stark Zevachim. They go to Prager's. Then you have guys, they're not so. I don't want to take. They're going to let's say a less of a yeshiva. Called Beis Shloimeh. Beis Shloimeh, it's like a level of yeshiva. Then you have guys, they're just Bali Tshuva. They mamish came out of the street. So the guys who Beis Shloimeh don't belong to Prager's. Go to Beis Shloimeh, that's where you belong to. You don't belong here. But the Bali Tshuva guy comes into the Prager's, come learn with us. Wow, what do you mean? Mikufyo, he's not really in the level of learning coaching right now, right. But he's going to join the Chevra. So when you belong somewhere, so then you don't ruin me because you don't belong to the place. If you're off the street, you belong here. That's what it says over here as well. If Shimon is chayav an oilo, he belongs to oilo, he doesn't belong to chatos. But if Shimon is not chayav anything, he has something he has to take care of. Then he belongs to chatos. So then he ruins the chatos. Something like that we tend to understand.
If Shimon owns a chatos, let's go back then. So if Shimon has something like chatos,
yeah, so then
Reuven has in mind for him that.
Yeah, so then he ruins it.
So then
because right, so there you have to come with example. Very good question. If Shimon is chayav chatos, right. So then Lamaise, because they belong to the same yeshiva, he's taking away his place. What are you doing in my place? You sit there. So in the same yeshiva, I ruin you. I belong to another yeshiva, you belong there. You want to come visit. But if you are
but why is it no less than him not owing anything and covering?
In both cases, it means Pshat isn't effective. So you say he's effective because he belongs to chatos. But I don't belong here. If I'm a kufi, I do belong.
So then Shimon owns the chatos, so then someone bringing him chatos should also work the same. No, doesn't it follow the same?
It means like if he's mechuyev chatos, so my chatos can work for him. If he's mechuyev oilo, he's going to belong somewhere else. If he's not mechuyev anything, again my chatos works for him. If my chatos is working for him, he belongs to somebody who ruins it. Go back to the yeshiva. If I'm in Prager's and someone takes my seat from the yeshiva, you're my seat because you belong here. If you're a visitor for 2 seconds, nothing. But if you're about Shuvi came in, you also take my seat because you belong here as well. That would be the analogy. Okay, let's go on. So that's why it ruins it. Interesting. But we'll continue on with the oil. So this we already saw before. You start Shalol Lishmo, don't finish Shalol Lishmo. Hibai Seim Ekro, Hibai Seim Asvar. It's either a pasuk or a svar. This is what we saw on that base. Hibai Seim Ekro, Moitzas Asechot Tishmor. It says Neder Nedava. You remember, we said it already twice. In one hand, the korban is called a Neder. One hand, there's a Nedava. If you do it right, it's a Neder. If it's not, only a Nedava. Hibai Seim Asvar, Mishu the Shani Bo, Ked Reish Birka. The Gemara says, go look at that base in Mudal, if I told you there. Because you ruined it a little bit, you ruined it completely? So you ruined it continually. Homer Rabbi said another thing. Oilo abo lachar miso. If oilo comes after death, shachto b'shinu kodesh psula, b'shinu ba'ilim kshem. This we also saw earlier. If it came after death, meaning someone owned the korban and he died, is yours should bring out the korban. That's what they do. They bring the korban. Is this korban? What happens to this korban? B'shinu kodesh. If I change it, I ruin the korban because you have to bring it. Shinur Bailim doesn't ruin anything. Why? It's ownerless. The owner died. That's what he says. We saw it already before. That's what we saw Dav Gimel. Doing it with the wrong owner after death doesn't change anything. Says the Gemara, no, there's owner. You know who the owner is? The inheritant. Reuben dies. His son brings the korban. The son is the owner.
The korban, the animal was already designated prior, right?
Yeah, for Reuben. Let's have that example. Yaakov. Yaakov has a korban. Yaakov dies. The halacha is, Pasuk tells you, Reuben will bring the korban on Yaakov. Right. So Reuben is not the owner of the korban. Yaakov is the owner. He died. There's no owner anymore. Reuben, the Yerush, has to bring it. He has a chayv to bring it.
No, but he's not really Yerush because technically, what do we say? We said that if there was no way to bring it, they'd have to let it run the field till it get hurt, right?
That's something else. That's chatos.
We're not talking about a chatos.
We don't have an oil. Talk about an oil. Shaila is the Yerush considered to be an owner, or just he's like doing his job? Says the Gemara, so he becomes the owner. He told Rashi to Pirchos, is it really an owner? Meaning, is it a complete owner? The right now, as the Torah says, Yaakov died. Reuven, now you become an owner of a korban, you have to bring it. I never obligated myself to bring a korban. I don't care. You inherited your father. It's good enough. Or the pshat is, or dilmo, the ikakama asega b'mechapo. Meaning, it's not a real owner. But if Yaakov died, and he bequeathed to Reuben an animal, and Reuben brings the animal, it works for him. He doesn't have to bring it. Let's say the animal dies. Does he have to bring something else? So, Omorlei Davka Kamina. No, he doesn't have to bring something else. He becomes obligated to the korban, even though he never wanted to bring the korban. He's still obligated.
So if the animal dies, he would be chayav to bring it.
Yeah. As if the Torah told you, now that you inherited, you became now as if that's your responsibility.
Inherited this
Right. This concludes over here, this Mahalach. Oilo doiro and he. Oilo is a gift. It's a gift. You're coming to Hashem, you're giving a gift. Hechidam. Why? More explains why. Eat the lake at Shuvo. It's never kushem to evil. Let's say a person brings an oila. He never did Shuvo. He didn't shake lulav this year. He didn't shake lulav. And then he says, you know what? I'm bringing a korban. Do you regret it? No, I don't regret it. I'm very happy with that. You're in Russia. It's never kushem to evil. If you did Shuvo, Hatanyo Avar Mitzvah Say V'Shav. A person did not transgressed an essay, but he did Shuvo. Right away he gets kapara. A person didn't do lulav. He said, "You didn't do lulav, Hashem. Please forgive me. I'm doing mechila. Please." Right away he gets mechila. Oh, so he says, "Why you sleeping like this? It's a gift. What's the gift?" As Rashi we'll see it, right? Oh, it's like you do tshuva, and then you bring an oil to Kodesh Baruch Hu saying, I'm coming to say, after I did tshuva, it's like the Havdil, person has a fight with his wife. He says, I'm sorry. And after he says, I'm sorry, he sends her some flowers. The flowers is not the sorry. If you just rely on the flowers, you're going to be in trouble. Then you have to say sorry. But after you said sorry, now you want to, make it like complete the forgiveness. It says the Gemara, Here we're brings a simon. Chatos mechaperes oil lacharton simon. Taina me'achik we're brings a vayso. Omar b'shimon chatos lama boa. Why is chatos coming? Boa lechaper. What do you mean? It comes to kapara. Ela lama boa lifnei oilo. In general, when a person has to bring a chatos and oilo, he brings chatos first. Why? Chatos is mechaper.
Sorry.
Leprakti chenichnas. Prakti is the lawyer. Comes in. And in this case, it means more of a messenger. Someone comes in front of the king. He's really, really sorry about what he did. Ritzor praklit. He did the ritzoi. Nichnas doyer and acharav. Now comes the doyer and now comes the oilo as a doyer and as a give. The oilo is not mechaper. The oilo is after kapara. And this is a big issue. It comes out, oilo comes for chayv aseh, but only after tshuva. So it's really just completing that thing. You have to do first of all tshuva. Then you can go through the process. Now,
but at the end of the day, I say daicha loisa say, meaning like the oila is daicha the chatas.
So essentially, is when you do it, not when you're not doing it.
Right.
In other words, when you're transgressing a loisa say, it's worse when you're over an essay.
Right.
When you're doing an essay, it's greater than loisa say. Then it becomes essay. It happens when you're doing, that's a Ramban, Chumash. When you're doing an essay, you're doing more than you're keeping a loisa. Let's say you keep yourself from not eating chazir. You did a bigger mitzvah when you put on tefillin. But when you're transgressing and eating chazir, it's worse than not putting on tefillin.
Yeah. Right.
So here, in the essay, you transgress, you didn't do something so bad. But how do you fix it? You do tshuva and then you bring out oil as a doyer. Now if you have time, let's continue on. I want to finish it off. If we have time, let's get back to this something in Yom the Yom. The one says, Chutz and Pesach and Chatos, I'm going back to a little bit of Josh's. We said the Pesach and Chatos, you did Shol Yishma, you ruined it. Similar Pesach, I know Pesach. Dechtiv Shomer is Chodesh Oviv, as is the Pesach. It says in the Pasuk, Shomer is Chodesh Oviv, do Pesach. You call Asiyo Yisrael L'Shem Pesach. You have to do L'Shem Pesach. You did it for something else, you ruined it. Ashkelon Shinu Kodesh. Okay, I see Shinu Kodesh, you're not allowed to change the name of the korban. Shinu Bailam, you know, how do you know you're not allowed to change the owner of the korban? Dechtiv Amartem Zevach Pesach Hu, Zvichol L'Shem Pesach. So Zevach Pesach, Zvichol L'Shem Pesach. Imi no Inyan Shinu Kodesh, because you already said Kodesh. You already have a pasuk in Kodesh. Because it says, Shomer is Chodesh Aviv, as in the Pesach. Now, in other words, I have two psukim. So pasuk A will be for Kodesh, pasuk B will be for Shinu Bailim, that you change owner. Hashkechon the mitzvah, lakem. Okay, that's for a mitzvah. Valdik, meaning that you have to do it. But how do you know that all the korbanos have to do l'shem for the right name? But if I did it for something else, it's the kosher. How do I know here that flakev that if you didn't do it, you ruined it? My Pesach is different. I have another pasuk, I have a third pasuk. Oh, I have a third pasuk. That teaches you it's me'akev. Once before we even explains this pasuk. The pasuk is not for that. For what is the pasuk? We need for something else. How do I know if I have an extra Pesach? I didn't use it for Pesach. Let's say a person took 2 animals for Pesach. He ended up using one, not the other one. What happens to the other one? What do you do with it after Pesach? It becomes shlamim. It transforms to shlamim. We'll get back to the more in the Masechta. Pesach was not used for Pesach, it becomes a shlamim. How? Sheneim, how do you know? The same pasuk. It says you can bring Pesach, tzoyin bakar. Tzoyin bakar, tzoyin means sheep. Bakar means bigger animals. Like a cow, like an ox. So how can you say tzoyin bakar? Pesach, what is korban Pesach? Could be either a sheep or a goat. It can't be a cow. So how do you say cow in the pasuk? So Torah is telling you like this: Pesach, which is not Pesach, becomes something that you could bring for a bakar, even though Pesach itself you can't bring for a bakar. So someone bring about a sheep. Sheep has to be Pesach. He didn't bring it for Pesach. What do you do with it? It comes shlamim, which you could bring for bakar. That's what the Torah is telling you. So I need the pasuk for that. We need the Pesach for that. To teach you that Pesach, when it is not Pesach, becomes shlam. Shomer is Chodesh Aviv, the mitzvah b'Shinu Kodesh. Shomer is Chodesh, the pasuk tells you that Shinu Kodesh needs to be done. The mitzvah, you have to do it, but we still don't know lack. The mitzvah means every time the Torah tells you something, it means that's what you have to do. If you didn't do it, don't worry. That's called a mitzvah. Okay, so I know the mitzvah. I need to know lack. I need another pasuk. I didn't get there. Talmud is a Pesach, which is the second pasuk we mentioned at the beginning. B'Shinu Bailim mitzvah. That teaches you now I'll change the name of the owner and I'll redesignate it. Mitzvah. Ooh, says Zevachim Pesach. Who? The word who? La'akev. Haka means you must do it. L'shem Pesach. You can't change it. So well, okay, very nice. Okay, so we took care of it. We have a mitzvah for Kodesh, or a mitzvah for Bailim, and you have Hu Shebe Me'akiv. And again, always, that's the lingo for Kutcher. The mitzvah means you have to do it. Hu means if you didn't do it, you ruined it. So that's why I have both. So Hashkon Zvicho. Okay, that's Zvicho. Shchito. Shar Avoidus Minolim. How do you know other Avoidus? Real Vigali Gali. It says more, once I know Zvicho, you know everything else. Why? So Pasuk Shar, as we showing point out, is we learned already by other Karbonis, everything is similar. So here it makes sense. I said by Zvicho, everything, if the same way if I did Shchita wrong, I ruined the carbon. So also if I do Zrika wrong, I ruin the carbon. I don't say will be gali gali. I don't disagree with that. You have to tell me a limit for each one. How do I know other avodas? So remember, the pasuk before said all the karbonos. You put everything together. But we're missing a few karbonos in that list. That list said oilo, mincha, chatos, shlomim, osham. We're missing. What are we missing? So what is it, Tanya? The next pasuk says, B'yoin tzavoisoi is bnei Yisrael lakibus karbanim. Next pasuk, after you said a list of karbanos, it says when Moshe Rabbeinu ordered Am Yisrael to do karbanos. One second, I just said karbanos. It's coming to add the missing karbanos. What are the missing karbanos? Zebchor, Meiser, Upesach. Oh, here's the karbanos. Bchor, Meiser, Pesach. Not on the list. Bchor is the firstborn. Meiser is the 10th. You know they have to do Meiser Behemo. And Pesach. These are the three that are missing. And it says in the next pasuk, Hikisha Kosel Shlomim, you compare it to Shlomim. Ma Shlomim ben Shina Kodesh ben Shina Baalim ben Lemitzvah. By Shlomim you already learned before, the more brother Psukim. If you change the designation of the carbon, it ruins the carbon. You change the designation of the owner, it ruins the carbon. But it's still kosher. Ruins it, it's still kosher. Kosher, so I have called Shina Kodesh ben Shina Baalim Lemitzvah. So that's why I know. Forget about the psukim that I said before. You know how you know the lechatchila I need to do it l'shem kodesh l'shem bailim? I know it from. I learned from the Hekesh from Shlomo. Uki Shlomo. By Shlomo. Ma Shlomo means zvicha b'tshah avoyus lo chilakti ben lamitzvah. The same way by Shlomim, there's no difference between shchito, kabbalah, hoylach, zriko. All four you have to do l'shmo. So that's why so now I go back to the psukim before. I have already psukim. I have the first psukim. The first psukim over here, I have a pasuk that is makish everything to Shlom. That I have. So that's a mitzvah. But now I have the other two psukim that I said before. The pasuk of Pesach that teaches you le'akiv. Why does Pesach have his own pasuk? I already know it from Shlomim. To tell you by Shlomim, you should do it. If you didn't do it, it's fine. But by meaning you still have to bring another carbon, but the carbon is still kosher. The reason you have an extra pasuk by Pesach to tell you now it's me'akiv. I don't need the who anymore. Remember, because originally we said you have two psukim by Pesach to tell you mitzvah. Now I have who to tell you me'akiv. But now I say mitzvah, I know from Shlomim. How do I know le'akiv? Because they have an extra two psukim. So what does who do? Says the Gemara, Elohu lamali. What are you doing with who after parentheses? Ketanyo. I'll tell you why you need who. It tells you who by Pesach, which I know it means le'akiv because I know me'akiv. I know me'akiv for something else. By Osham also says who. But the who that says by Osham is a different place. This Gemara mentioned earlier. Who by Pesach it says by Shchita. The Zevachim Pesach it says by Shchita. It says by Osham also the word who. But you know why it says by Osham who? You know where? It says it only by Haktor Simurim. When you throw the fat to the Mizbeach, it says the who. Haktor Simurim is not Ma'akiv. What happens if what is Ma'akiv? The only things that you need to do in the korban, if you didn't do it, the korban is not good. Shchita, Kabbalah, Hoylach, Zrika. You miss one of these, you're in trouble. Unless you avoid it like Hoylach. But Haktor Simurim, if you didn't do it, you're still okay. You're kosher. So if I'm still okay by Haktor Simurim, it can't be that who is lacking. So says the Gemara, it says by Pesach who. It says by Yashamu. I would think maybe the who is Ma'akiv. No. Look at where who says by Pesach. It says in the right place. So who that says by Asham, if it says in the wrong place, still it's not Ma'akiv. That's why it says who at Pesach. I tell you, if I want to tell you who, I need to put it in the right place. That's what I'm explaining. The fact that who by Yoshua is written in the wrong place, in a place which is not something which is required, without Pesach, I would think, okay, but maybe it means the Torah says who, wherever the Torah says who tells me it's vacuum. So well, no, look at Pesach. You see, the Torah is telling you, I know where to put the who if I need to. So by Pesach, I put you who by Zvichel, because that's what it means, that's what I need to do. By Yoshua, I put the who in the wrong place, to tell you the who is not vacuum. That's what I have to tell you. What do we learn from who? We learned something else, like Gemara said before, that if you change the Asham, only when it's changed because wrong, not before, because something else not before, that's what we see from there. So the Gemara brings all the drasha against the drasha in the last one. We have another 2 minutes. I want to say one thing over here. Go back to the Gemara said before. The Gemara said, that Gemara asked, if you really did tshuva, so the oil, what does the oil do? If you didn't do tshuva, you ruined the carbon. The Chachamim have a few questions about that. And the questions are, it's a whole process. In order to do tshuva, in order for a person not to be a rush when he brings a carbon, he needs to be, the Rambam says, he needs to be completely koifer. A person forgot to do lulav one day. Tell him, you want to do tshuva? It's fine, I didn't do lulav one day. I did the other days, I'm fine. But he's not a koifer, he's not saying I don't believe in anything. One says, if you didn't do tshuva, it's a zevachim teiva. Why? Rambam says you have to completely be koifer. So you see from here a big yesod. We're not going to have time to go through the whole thing. But you see here, there's 2 types of tshuva. And that's Nugia also to Rosh Hashanah very much. There is a tshuva that is, who are you? Which person are you? Are you a tzaddik? You want to be close to Kodesh Baruch Hu? Or you're a Rosh? That tshuva can happen in 1 split second. The person can decide, from now on, you know what I'm doing? I'm a tzaddik. From now on, I'm a shasit. You don't have to learn this one daf of Gemara. But I decided that's what I'm going to do. It's a split second decision. Then you have a tshuva, which you have to go and do kapara on everything you do. The person did something wrong, he has to rectify it. So that's already an ish mitzvah. When the Rambam says that Zevachim Teiva means that a Rosh, I can't accept him in a carbon, that means when a person is completely out. He's a Rosh, he says, I don't believe in anything. Then you don't accept carbon for him, he's completely out. But when a person, he's a good person, he needs to fix one thing. So then, it's a different type of truth. And in this says more over here, the oil, you can't bring the oil where the guy that will fix this specific thing you bring the oil for. There is a tshuva which is on this thing. This you have to do al chait, and you have a whole process of tshuva, charoto, and vidui, and you have to do more. That's on this specific thing. The generic thing can be done differently. And this is why I get to Rosh Hashanah. Because Rosh Hashanah, you have in Rosh Hashanah, it says that a person can do tshuva in 1 second. It's not changing to do tshuva every ma'isa. So different tshuvas. You have a tshuva that transforms the person. Who are you? That you can do in 1 second. How comes Rosh Hashanah, a person can say, I belong to Kodesh Baruch Hu. Here at tshuva b'liboy. Then you have tshuva that a person has to go and rectify that specific ma'isa. That's a little more process. Now we get to Yom Kippur, right. And now there's more speaks about over here. It says Zevachim Teiva, more about that Beis Hashem and the Shom Machshava on Adaf to come and explain it more in length. Say a gomer, Stop over here.